that the international community is not really understanding the issue, and I will go back and quote what he said concerning U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, when Mr. Blinken said that the decision to use force to adjust municipal buildings in the north has been taken against advice of the U.S. and EU. Kurti replied by expressing displeasure at the statement, calling it appeasement of wishes. He said that this statement is, and I quote, unfair, wrong, and hurtful, but at the same time very naive. Perhaps Secretary Blinken will explain this further one day, but definitely it was not helpful. What is your comment?
My comment is, at that moment in time, passions were high. And I think it's important to acknowledge that as well. I don't believe that the American foreign policy apparatus, or myself or others, are misinformed or naive. I think we have a reasonable understanding of the motivations and activities and actions of the various actors here. But our goal is clear. We want to see Kosovo advance on its European and Euro-Atlantic trajectory. We want to see Kosovo take its place in the family of Europe. The pathway to do that has been through the European Facilitated Dialogue. The European Facilitated Dialogue has been harmed, or impeded, by flashpoints, and the most recent one being a particularly worrisome one of the situation in the north. We want to get past flashpoints. We want to get to the hard work of implementing a good agreement that was reached, concluded in February with an implementation annex concluded in Ohrid in March. We expect both sides to implement it fully, and we want to work on that together. There's hard work to do. And I should add, on that point, that does mean for Kosovo, doing hard work on the Association of Serb Majority Municipalities. That does mean for Serbia as well, implementing provisions it has agreed to in the agreement. But we're spending a lot of time dealing with the flashpoints in the north. We want to get past that. We don't think that's a naive view. We think that is a statesman-like view.
Is the three-point plan the only option?
It's what the United States, the European Union, the United Kingdom, and other friends of Kosovo have asked it to do. So I don't see a lot of interest in other options. And what we're asking will de-escalate and move us forward. We're asking Kosovo for mayors to temporarily work in other locations. That was included in the readout of the phone call Secretary Blinken issued after his call with Prime Minister Kurti on Monday. And it was also, I recall, in the readout of the meeting that the Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom had with Prime Minister Kurti that same day. We do want specialized police out because we think that is part of what is creating the current environment. We want demonstrators away, and that is something we're talking to the government of Serbia about. We want a de-escalation on this issue. Then we want to see a movement towards new elections. We fully expect the Serbs to participate in those elections. That is a condition for all of this. And then we want to move back to, or get to, working towards full implementation by all sides of the agreement on a path to normalization.
How can we get guarantees that the Serbs will participate in the new elections?
Yeah, it's a hard question. All I can tell you is what we see as the pathway forward. And just as we're having conversations here about the things Kosovo needs to do, we are having conversations both with Kosovan Serbs and with Belgrade about what needs to happen on that side. And those conversations are also fairly direct and fairly clear.
And we've seen Kosovo police officers were captured by the Serbian authorities. They were released a couple of days ago, but after 12 days that they've been held there, did Serbia violate the resolution 1244 with this act?
You know, the United States was, I think, the first country to make a public statement about this situation, and we made clear that we believed that their arrest was exacerbating already, was on specious charges and exacerbating already tense situation, and that these three needed to be released immediately and without conditions. That was the right message, and we're glad that that finally happened, that they are now home with their families. I will say we need to start looking forward. We need to start looking at how do we get out of this tit for tat or this escalation of tensions in the north and get to a place where our focus can be on moving forward with a full implementation by both sides of the agreement on normalization.
And there are many analyses if the situation will continue like this in the north of Kosovo.